It's exactly 6 years ago that we inaugurated this Institute for Spiritual Culture. And the inspiration for doing so I received because for the last 20 years I have been very much involved in preaching in Bangladesh. And Bangladesh is a place, actually it's East Bengal, so most of Mahaprabhu's associates, they come from East Bengal, which is now Bangladesh, like Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, Mukunda Datta, Vasudev Datta, Pundarik Vidyanidhi, even Advaita Acharya. He did not appear in Shantipur, but actually in Bangladesh, and then later on he moved in this area. Also Srivas Thakur, Jagannath Mishra, Sachimata. I mean, so many personalities are from East Bengal. And because today it is a Muslim country, this actually preserves our Vaishnava culture there. Because the Muslims are not so fond of all the modern Kali Yuga ideas. So that has kept Bangladesh very traditional, very cultured. So over the 20 years of me spending considerable time there, I actually received a whole transformation. My whole worldview and outlook on life completely got put upside down. And this gave me the realization, because not everybody can spend time in Bangladesh, this gave me the realization that actually we have to offer our devotees systematic training and education in how to live our philosophy. We usually tend to give the first step of education that we teach the Shastra. Oh, the sound has to be a little adjusted. We tend to teach the Shastra, Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhava, and this is very nice and very important, but it is actually only step number 1. And then comes step number 2. How do we live our philosophy? How do we practically apply it in life? And I dare say we are not quite there yet, that we really have given this kind of education. So that realization inspired me to inaugurate an institute for spiritual culture. It's an educational institute within the institution of ISKCON. So in every year I like to have this annual program simply to bring awareness to this topic of culture. And yes, and in this Institute for Spiritual Culture I have made an humble attempt to put 6 courses together, very systematic courses, which I'm now putting into book form. I have published three books, and I have 3 more to go. So later on the book table you can check them out if you don't already have them anyway. Yes, so and of course there's so much more to be done. This is just a humble beginning. So with your permission, let me say a few words about culture. How does culture come about? What is culture? How is it affecting us? So basically, culture comes about by living a certain worldview, a certain philosophy, a certain ideology. And that brings about culture in all different aspects of life, like hairstyle, music, fashion, eating culture, recreation, what we do in our free time, education, even our attitude to medical treatments, and. I mean, there's so many different aspects of practical life, how culture manifests. And of course, we have only 2 basic cultures in life, that is materialistic culture and spiritual culture, and they're based on very, very opposite worldviews. Material life is all about sense enjoyment being the all in all, and bodily concept of life, and I'm the center of the universe, I'm the controller, I'm the proprietor, I'm the enjoyer, and. So whereas spiritual culture is based on the opposite. We reduce sense gratification. We understand Krishna is the center of the universe. He is the supreme controller, enjoyer, proprietor. So they're very, very opposite, actually, because they're based on the completely opposite worldview. So, and culture is not only coming about through living a certain worldview, but it also reinforces and it propagates that same worldview. So actually we should never think that these culture aspects are just externals. They're not. They have a very strong effect on our consciousness and other people's consciousness around us, because they propagate and reinforce that same worldview which they're based on. So that's why it is wise to invite such aspects of culture which reinforce that worldview which we want to develop as devotees, right? So the more we basically surround ourselves with aspects of spiritual culture, the more it will help us to develop that worldview which we want to develop. That's kind of in short. And I mean also in 269 in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, what is day to the materialist is night to the introspective sage. So that already shows how these two worldviews are just so opposite. And yes, and in between we can say, here's the day of the materialist, here's the day of the spiritualist. In between is a broad spectrum of all kinds of mixtures and shades there. And Krishna consciousness is meant to bring that transformation, that the day of the materialist eventually becomes our night. If it doesn't take place, this transformation, then our spiritual practice is rather external and shallow, actually. But we do want to transform. We want to transform our likes and dislikes and worldviews and patterns of behaviors and. So, and basically we can say our Vaishnava culture we can see as Krishna's system, which he gives us to create stability and harmony in this world. So we have solid ground under our feet, so we can wholeheartedly develop our love for Krishna. And our disease is that we think our modern systems are better than Krishna's system. We take Krishna's culture to be outdated and old-fashioned, and we think our modern ideas and system is so much better. And I dare say all our social problems we are facing in society, like divorce, single motherhood, neglected children, violence towards women, child abuse, all these things we can see as global reactions for not following Krishna's system. So that's just a little, a little introduction in the whole topic of culture. So now our topic for today is building Vaishnava communities based on sheltering relationships. Actually, giving shelter and accepting shelter, this topic is very much connected to the topic of culture. Because in material life, people don't want to take shelter. There's that pride there, or I know everything. What do I need somebody to stick their nose in my life and tell me what to do? I can work it all out myself. So usually in material life, we don't want to take shelter, and we also don't want to give shelter to others. Because giving shelter, reaching out and guiding and uplifting, that requires a sacrifice. And in material life, people are too selfish. They're only interested in their goals and achievements, and they simply couldn't be bothered to sit down with a person, to have the time to hear a person, to guide them, and that takes a lot of sacrifice, actually. But in spiritual life and its culture, it's the most natural foundation of any more meaningful relationship, actually. So in that way, this topic of giving shelter and accepting shelter is a perfect introduction to the topic of culture, because we realize that even those qualities we need to have in order to be keen for shelter, a materialist would see them as weakness, like feeling helpless. You know, as Vaishnava, the more we advance, the more we should actually feel helplessly dependent on Hari, Guru and the Vaishnavas. But a materialist definitely does not aspire for feeling helpless. Definitely not. So, yes, and let me share one little realization before we invite our first speaker to speak something. I'm sure many of us here have shared or have also observed this. Anybody who's been around 20 years or longer in Krishna consciousness, you may have also seen this, that so many people come to Krishna consciousness, they hang around for some time, and then somehow they tend to fade away again. You ever notice this? Yes. This is going on actually all over the world. All over the world. We have this phenomena that people come, hang around for a while, they leave. And also we tend to concentrate so much more on making new devotees, bringing new people in, but we do very, very little to actually ongoingly nourish and care for those who we have already convinced to take up the process of Krishna consciousness. Yes, that is a strong phenomenon which is going on in our society. We often think, yes, we need new devotees, let's make new devotees, but hey, where are all the old devotees? What happened to them? What are we lacking that we cannot keep people their whole life long active and inspired and enthusiastic in the fire of devotional service? What is going wrong? So, I mean, sometimes it's like that when after 15 or 20 years you visit the same temple again, the only faces, the only personalities you have seen before can easily be the deities. But anybody else, you know, they're all new faces. I've had this realization many times, you know, that I'm going back to a community where I spent many years in the early days, and I'm all excited seeing all my old friends. But then I'm wondering, where is everybody? You know, I'm waiting for the first Sunday feast, nobody comes. Then for when the different spiritual masters come, I think surely they will come then. But again, where is everybody? Then Janmashtami, surely everybody will be there then. But same thing again, where is everybody? And that really made me think, you know, and I just couldn't stop analyzing what is missing, that this happens. You know, and I almost lost my enthusiasm for outreach, for bringing new people. I felt like thinking, well, what is the use if we can't keep them in the fire of devotional life? What's the use to bring more and more people? And there's also 2 famous letters where Prabhupada speaks about boiling the milk, right? I'm sure many of us have heard that expression. That was in 1972. Prabhupada said that. He said, now we have so many devotees and so many temples, and Prabhupada said, I'm concerned that we should not spread ourselves more and more widely and lose the spiritual content. And he's saying very easily, it's like adding water to the milk, and then watering down the milk, and then in the end it will not be milk any longer. So and he said, so now we should concentrate on training our devotees thoroughly, and by discussing and just like boiling the milk so it becomes thicker and sweeter. And Prabhupada says, now do like that, boil the milk, you know. I mean, that was in 72, quite in the beginning actually, where Prabhupada kind of gave that vision that we have to make endeavor to bring people ongoingly on deeper levels of spiritual practice and so on, you know. Yes. And actually with this realization that devotees need ongoing nourishment for the bhakti ladder to really grow and eventually bear fruits, this is how this term of devotee care came about. Very often devotees have a rather external understanding of what devotee care is. We think this is just for caring for the sick and old devotees or something, but no. There's a much deeper aspect to that. It is all about giving and accepting shelter. That should be the foundation to devotee care. That the more experienced devotee reaches out to the less experienced devotee and uplifts and guides and shares, and the less experienced devotee inquires and learns from the more experienced devotee. That is actually the loving exchange which Rupa Goswami talks about, Guyam Akhyati Prichyati. And the purport Prabhupada says, a more experienced devotee teaches and a less experienced devotee learns from him. So that is the confidential loving exchange actually. And these two, let me say like this, for community development, there is two main tools which make community development very successful. Aspect number one is that the deities have to be the center. Everybody should have some little connection in serving the deities. That is a very important part of community development. But then tool number two is exactly this, sheltering relationships. That actually the devotees are ongoingly nourished and cared for, and then everybody wants to give their heart and soul to serve the community and the devotees and the deities. So these two aspects, if we want to develop strong and healthy Vaishnava communities, these two aspects are of the highest importance actually. So let us invite our first speaker, His Grace Damodar Prabhu. He is from Chowpatty and he is a senior preacher and a teacher. He gives seminars on this topic of devotee care, on sheltering relationships, on the importance of having a mentor, a coach, and eventually becoming one ourselves. So please, Prabhu, come up on our stage and take your seat there and enlighten us.
Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhescha Kripa Sindhubhe Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakti Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I am wearing these two garlands. One is for the audience, other is one for the speaker. But this is my real identity as an audience. I want to hear what His Grace Mahatma Prabhu and His Grace, His Holiness Bhakti Vijnana Maharaja has to say. So I'll just do a little warm-up session, try to prepare some stage for the main speakers to come and speak. I would like to express my gratitude to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, by whose mercy I have this opportunity to come to Sridham Mayapur. We have known about Lord Chaitanya and be able to understand something about devotional service. Especially my deep gratitude to Mother Devaki for painstakingly organizing this. I could see from her mails, the initial communication, how she has a strong feeling that devotee should be cared for, protected, nourished. And I would see her often outside of Panchatattva hall distributing the leaflets. I'm sure many of you have got the leaflets directly from her hands. And of course, many more things that she has been painstakingly doing to organize this one event. The pandal has been put up just for this one session, one evening. Some devotees, they just arrived today, and the ILS pandal, huge pandal, was being now dismantled. And they were saying, this pandal was put just for the 7 days of ILS. I said, yes, this pandal has been put for one evening. So that's how she feels how important the devotee care is, and devotees can have a nice environment, nice pandal to sit and discuss this topic. So my deep gratitude to Mother Devaki for putting up this program and giving me the opportunity to share something. As Mother Devaki was talking about shelter, our topic for today is building devotee communities based on sheltering relationships. I'm just reminded of one beautiful verse by Srila Yamunacharya. It has been quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Prabhupada would love to recite this verse, and often cited in his purports also in the Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. Bhavantameva nirantara prashant nishesh manorathantara kadahame kantika nitya kinkara praharshishayami sanatha jivitam. So Yamunacharya describes that, O Lord, when will I become your eternal exclusive servant? When I am fixed in the concept of a servant, when I take shelter, bhavanteva anucharan nirantara prashant nishesh manorathantara. So he says, when I am fixed as a servant of your Lordship, then all the wanderings of mind will come to stop, and I'll experience eternal everlasting bliss. Prashant nishesh manoratha kadaham ekantika nitya kinkara parharshishyami. Parharshishyami means complete joy, unbounded joy, eternal joy. Sanat jivitam, and Prabhupada highlights this one word, sanat, meaning having found a befitting master. All the living entities in this world are like anath. Anath means orphans, wandering without shelter. But when we find our shelter, then we can become completely joyful, completely happy, completely peaceful. So, sheltering relationships. I would like to seek blessings from all assembled devotees, especially the senior devotees. They are disciples of Srila Prabhupada and other many senior Vaishnavas. I seek blessings before being able to say something. In the recently held ILS, I would just like to share one of the events from the plenary session. In groups, around 500-600 devotees were participating in the plenary, and in groups we all were asked to write what do you think are the key concerns for ISKCON to build future. So the theme of the recent ILS was building the future of ISKCON. How many of you attended the ILS? Okay, fine. So probably 20% of the devotees present here were present during the ILS. So what are the key concerns? We were all made to write it down. And then His Grace Vajbihari Prabhu, he shared that the participants of the GBC College for Leadership Development, we have ongoing college, GBC College for Leadership Development, they were asked the same question and their top 10 concerns were highlighted, that these are the top 10 concerns. So then a comparison was made. Okay, these are top 10 concerns, and Brajbihari Prabhu was reading one by one. And how many of you have also have written on the same concern? So it was something like that we need to train our future leadership, succession planning. How many out of 500 feel the same? Probably 50, 60 devotees, they got up, raised the hand. How many of you feel that we need to create our organization, system and structures? Again, there were 30, 40, 50 devotees who raised their hand. We need to have online presence. Our presence is very poor online. This is one of the concerns for our future. How many devotees feels? There were 30, 40, 50 devotees again raised their hands. Similarly, so one by one the concerns were read, and the devotees, 10, 15, 20% of the devotees were raising their hand that we also feel the same concern. And then Brajbihari Prabhu read, we need to have systems of devotee care. Almost everyone, it was hard to see who is not raising the hand. All the participants, they raised the hand, probably both the hands. Right? Not just one hand. So the whole, everyone was up. He said, okay, stand up for those who feel. So practically everyone got up. So this is one of the most important concern which the leaders feel, and at the ILS the most important and most burning concern was having systems, having some system, some structure for caring for the devotees. I am from Shri Radha Gopinath temple is Chowpatty, and every year around Janmashtami time we have a group of students from, they are physically and mentally challenged students from a school nearby. They visit the temple, we give them a small talk, and for last few years I tell them some Krishna stories, and we serve them Krishna Prasad, take them for darshan. A group of 50 students they visit every year. So just in the last Janmashtami visit, I asked them a question, what all you think Krishna loves? What all Krishna loves? So these students were shouting, Krishna loves butter, Krishna loves pedas, he loves yogurt, he loves cows, he loves peacocks, he loves flute. And sure, Krishna loves. And one of them said, Krishna loves his devotees. I said, yes, Krishna loves his devotees. That's the thing Krishna loves the most. How can you say that Krishna loves devotees the most? He says himself, the Lord says himself, Na tatha me priyatama atmayonir na shankara na cha sankarshano na shir naivatmana cha yatha bhavan. So Lord in 11th canto, he is speaking to Uddhav ji, and he says, Na tatha me priyatama atmayonir na shankara. No one is more dear to me, not my son. Atmayoni is Lord Brahma. My son is not so dear to me. No Shankara, my own expansion, Lord Shiva. My own brother, Sankarshan, he is not so dear to me. My wife is not so dear to me. Even my own self, Naivatmana, even my own self am not so dear to me. Then you, O my devotee. So the Lord loves his devotees more than his own self. He says by his own mouth. Another place he says, Yo me bhakta jana partha, name bhakta state jana, mad bhakta nam cha ye bhakta, te me bhakta tama mataha. He says, those who say, I am your devotee. Krishna says, well, I don't consider them to be my devotees. But those who say, I am the devotee of your devotees, Lord says, they are my real devotees. Mad bhakta naam cha ye bhakta, te me bhakta tamamata. I consider them to be my real devotees. So in this way, the Lord, He loves His devotees. He tells Arjuna, you should beat kettle drums loudly and proclaim, using all your lungs power, proclaim loudly, my devotees will never perish. Say it loudly, beat the kettle drums everywhere, declare, my devotees will never perish, I will protect them. So this is how, and there are so many statements in the scriptures, how Krishna loves His devotees. So one poet has expressed, London, with all thy faults, I still love you. A poet, he expresses love for the London, and that too unconditional love, with all thy faults. If someone can love London with all the faults, unconditionally, how much more we have to love the devotees. Right? So London is just one city, materialistic city. But devotees are from Vaikuntha, the Lord's own. He loves devotees more than His own self. So our love, our concern for the devotees is expressed by, has to be expressed by our conduct. Therefore, if you see that the word care, the word care is used both in terms of a value. Here is a very caring person. It's like a value. He was cared for when that person was sick. He was nicely cared for. That is like a conduct. A noun and a verb. Value is a noun. Verb is action, conduct. So the term we are using the term devotee care, caring for devotees. So care is a value to be imbibed, but care has to be expressed in a conduct. That is like an action. Similarly, the word bhakti is usually translated as devotion. Devotion is a value. Here is a person, he has great devotion within the heart. So the word bhakti is translated as devotion, usually. But Prabhupada specifically translated the word bhakti as devotional service, combining the value and the conduct. The value, what we value, has to be visible in our conduct. So therefore the word care, that here is a caring person, but how that care is expressed in the conduct, that is our action. So the care word is used in both ways, as a value and as a conduct. There is a verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita. The residents of Kulinagram, they ask Lord Chaitanya, my dear Lord, will you please explain what is our duty? So Lord explains their duty very succinctly. It's in a small nutshell verse. Prabhu kahe Vaishnav seva nam sankirtana dui kar shigra pabe Shri Krishna charana. Lord said, you should do Nam Sankirtan, chant the holy names of the Lord. Vaishnav Seva Nama Sankirtan, serve the devotees and chant the holy names of the Lord. Just two things. You may just do these two things. Dui kar. And soon you will attain the Lord's lotus feet. Dui kar, shigra pabe, very soon, just by doing these two things, you will attain the lotus feet of the Lord. So, Vaishnav Seva, that's devotee care. When we are talking of devotee care, that's Vaishnav Seva, instruction of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He places emphasis, it is emphasized often in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Again, in the ILS seminar, I am sharing few things since I have recently attended ILS. It was pointed out by many senior leaders that majority of Prabhupada disciples, they left the movement. Not because they have now left the body, therefore now they are left the movement, but before even leaving the body, many Prabhupada disciples, majority of them, they left Krishna consciousness movement. Gradually after Prabhupada disappeared. Majority of them. We do not have the statistics. And probably it is good we don't have the statistics, because otherwise we would probably faint. How many devotees have left our movement? One devotee, again during the ILS seminar, was sharing, as Mother Devaki said, he said, for last 10-15 years, we have the same number of people coming for our Sunday love feast, 300-400. But I see newer and newer faces. I don't know where the old faces are going. The old faces, we don't see them. They gradually fade away. So, therefore, devotee care is one of the key concerns for all of us. And one of the key questions is, who is responsible to embed devotee care? This particular term has been used in the devotee care course manual. His Grace Atul Krishna Prabhu is here, who has been the key person to develop this course along with His Grace Rasa Mandal Prabhu. And the term that has been used is the aim of the devotee care course is to embed the culture of care within the devotee communities. Embed. I am from a technological background and we have embedded technology. So this word embed is like a permanent fixture. You can't remove that. So the aim is to embed the culture of care within the devotee community of the devotee care course. So who is responsible to embed the culture of care for the devotee communities? And usually when we say, yes, leaders are responsible. The leaders have to take initiatives, do everything. Most of the time we feel that the leaders have to do something. So again, there is a beautiful conversation of Prabhupada. He's in Hyderabad, and the devotees are saying that they are doing this, or they are not doing what they are supposed to do. So Prabhupada says, you say they mistake. Who are they? You should say you do mistake. Don't say they. This is bureaucracy. You are they. So Prabhupada points out that who are they? You all are they. Who are the leaders? All of you are the leaders. All the devotees sitting here, all of us, we are the leaders. Not in terms of that we want to have some position and power, but as a responsibility. Every one of us has the responsibility. We are in a position to influence few at least. All of us can influence few. Few can influence many, and many can influence the whole world. Therefore, all the devotees sitting here are leaders. And we are responsible. Prabhupada wants us to be responsible. And not just say that, okay, someone else is responsible, because we can make a difference. We can, as a leader, all of us have a responsibility to lead by our example and to influence few. And of course, many others can influence many, but at least all of us can. So, we all are responsible for this. And we have to really work hard to embed the culture of care within the devotee communities. Again, His Grace Ikshvaku Prabhu was giving a seminar on care and counseling, and he shared a nice point. He said, just like we have a department for the DDs service. we have a budget allocated, we have... Hare Krishna. Thank you, welcome. His Holiness Bhakti Vijnana Swami Maharaj. Hare Krishna Maharaj, seek your blessings. So, His Grace Ikshvaku Prabhu, in his seminar on care and counseling, he was making a point that just like we have a department for DD care, DD service, we have many devotees responsible. We have the head pujaris, the assistant pujaris, and their other assistants who do the other services. We have a budget allocated. We have the whole paraphernalia. We have the infrastructure. And DD worship is going gorgeously, wonderful. And that unites community. But then what about the devotee care? Where is the system for devotee care? And then he very strikingly, it was very striking to me, he said, Srimad Bhagavatam describes Kanishta Adhikari as one who has faith in the service of the deities, Archayam eva haraye, Pujam ya shraddhaye hate, Nata bhakteshu channesu sabhakta prakrita smritaha. So one who has faith in the service of the deities, in the service of the Lord, but that person doesn't have faith in the service of the devotees. That's how a Kanishta Adhikari, a beginner devotee, a neophyte devotee is defined. So we have a lot of system, structure, which is so great for the service of the deities. Where is that for the devotee care? And now our society have to move in that direction, where we have system, structure, resources, funds allocated for devotee care. Because devotee care, according to this definition of Srimad Bhagavatam, is higher platform. A person who has a mature understanding, a Madhyamadhikari, he also has equal faith in the service of the devotees as in the service of the deities. So we need to, in a way, progress now, our society, caring for the deities while we continue to serve the deities with great faith, respect, love. We demonstrate equal importance to serving the devotees, devotee care. His Prabhupada was sitting and giving a talk in New Vrindavan, and he noticed that Mother Gokulasya Priya Devi, she was shivering a little bit out of cold. It was cold, and she was not having enough warm clothes. And after the talk, Prabhupada called the leader of the community, and he said, well, the devotees are selfless by nature. The devotee may not ask you that they need something, but is it not your duty to provide for the devotees? Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, while he spread the Sankirtan, gave the holy name to one and all, while he was traveling in South India, he met a Ramdas Vipra, a Brahmana, who was a devotee of Lord Ram, and he recently read that Mother Sita was kidnapped by Ravana. So he out of his love for Mother Sita, he felt great agony that such a demon kidnapped Ravana. The demon touched, the demon Ravana kidnapped Mother Sita. So he was feeling great mental agony. And when he invited Lord Chaitanya for lunch prasadam, and he did not prepare anything. He was just in great agony. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually appreciated his mood. He had entered that pastime, and he was feeling for that. And Lord Chaitanya, of course, he hastily did something, prepared something, served the Lord, but he was fasting. He was fasting because Mother Sita had been touched by Ravana, and this happened, like hundreds and thousands of years back, in another yuga itself. But he was so absorbed in the pastime, he was fasting that Mother Sita had been touched by Ravana. Of course, the Lord was pleased by his bhava, by his meditation, and he left the place. This was Madurai, and he went and traveled further to Rameshwaram, which is at least 100 miles. And he found in Agni Puran over there a verse written that Ravana only stole the false Sita, Maya Sita, not the original Sita. And the Lord, he got that original verse. Can you imagine to get original manuscript, how difficult it is if it is in some temple's library? Can you get the original manuscript so easily? I mean, it's very difficult. You may write it down, the same thing, but the Lord, he got the original manuscript and kept the written copy with them. He must have, really persuaded them or used his mystic power to bewilder them or something. But he got the original manuscript to show to this, and he comes back 100 miles to show to this Ramdas Vipra that, wait, don't be in so much of mental pain. False Sita, Maya Sita was touched by Ravana and not the original Sita. And he became so happy. So just to reduce the mental agony or the mental pain of this Brahmana, the Lord, he traveled back 100 miles. At night his servant Shankar Pandit would sleep with him and he would feel cold. Now the Lord could have said, okay, we're feeling cold, probably he will wake up early and chant Hare Krishna. The Lord would, instead of feeling that or saying that, he would take his own blanket off and put his blanket over Shankar Pandit's body. This is Lord Chaitanya, the most munificent incarnation. What he is doing at night, taking his blanket off and putting over his servant when he saw his servant to be shivering. So we have so many examples, our scriptures, our founder Acharya and so many other Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, they have demonstrated within their values and within their conduct of the devotee care. I would just in few minutes I would like to share some of the good devotee care practices from what I have witnessed from my travels. His Grace Radha Gopinath Prabhu and myself, we have been traveling to different places around the world to conduct devotee care course. So we come to witness some good devotee care practices and to further inspire. So we were in Melbourne. We were invited by His Grace Aniruddha Prabhu. And anyone who comes to Melbourne temple is known as Mahaprabhu Mahaprasad Mandir. So Melbourne Mahaprabhu Mahaprasad Mandir, M raised to power 4. Melbourne Mahaprabhu Mahaprasad Mandir. Always there is Mahaprasad available for anyone who comes there. Any time. And nice Mahaprasad available. Many youngsters, unmarried boys, they were visiting in the evening. And the prasadam from afternoon would be cold and sometime finished. So they made arrangement for a separate cooking to be done at 5 p.m. Appointed separate cook in the service. So the hot prasad can be served to those who come to the temple around 6 p.m. So a special cooking and serving was organized to cater to this one particular group who would come. So all you enter the temple, you will find many devotees honoring Mahaprasada Mahaprabhu. Right? So this is, and all the devotees feel a lot nourished by that. We were here in Yatra 2017 with His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. In our Yatra we serve breakfast and lunch. We don't serve out dinner because for dinner there are many avenues, devotees can have different tastes and flavors. And so we leave up to the devotees wherever they want to have their dinner in the Yatras. And then it's a good income for the local, those who are local vendors, local devotees who are making their livelihood by selling prasadam. So, but what happened, there were more than 5,000 devotees, and everyone would break at the same time. And there would be a big queue everywhere. All the vendors, then they will run out, many devotees would not get, and there would be a big queue everywhere, including Gada, and all the outlets were full, and then became vacant. Everything was sold out, but still they were devotees. So His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj saw that, and next day he said, let there be another stall for khichdi, food for life, just outside of our pandal. And huge quantity of khichdi, immediately he mentioned and said, at least, those who are unable, those who just want something, some simple prasadam quickly and go to bed, they can have that. And daily it was done in 2017. It was such heart-touching. So, and of course after that now we are organizing that. Some khichdi also for the devotees, and they can have it, those who want. So this is what we witnessed here in Mayapur. And again His Grace Achyut Priya Prabhu in his seminar, Achyut Priya Prabhu from Ukraine, he was sharing how they also have prasadam, lunch prasadam, breakfast prasadam available for anyone who walks in the temple. And they don't have to, if they want to donate, they may donate. To the extent that in their Bhakti Sangam festivals, there are more than 10,000 devotees, probably 15,000 devotees. And there is no registration fees. It's free, the whole festival is free. And whatever the devotees donate, that has to bear the cost of the festival. It's quite, and they have some stalls. No, this is okay festival. They have stalls for saris, the ladies can buy saris and wear, dhoti kurta for men, some other stuff also, devotional. And there also on the stalls, pay whatever you like. Okay? And he says, what's the problem? Krishna is rich. Krishna is not a miser master. He has such confidence. Krishna will take care. And everything is being provided by the Lord. That faith is there. They have all the stalls, you can pay. Take a sari, wear. Krishna will be pleased to see devotees wearing saris for the first time, upcoming devotees, men wearing first time dhoti kurta. Lord will be pleased to see. He will inspire someone. Never mind if they are not able to give. And in their stall in Ukraine, all these devotional items for the devotees are sold at the same price, retail price, as is Vrindavan, Loi Bazaar, after shipping. So they buy in wholesale, they ship it, and almost sell it at the same price. Why let the devotees be happy? So he made a profound statement that devotees are not our means, devotees are our goal. Happy devotees are happy, they are our goal, they are not the means. That devotees have to accomplish some project, they have to do something, they should give something. We usually tend to award the achievers, those who achieve something for the project, for the mission. What about those who are steady practitioners? We should value and award them. So just a small last thing. In our Gurukul, we have in Govardhan Eco Village, we have a Gurukul for the boys. And we used to have annual sports day, and we used to give them prizes. And those boys who were, burly, hefty, they had failed for 2-3 years, they were senior to others, they would win all the prizes. And we thought, well, look, their conduct is not so good, but they are being rewarded, they are being given the prizes. So we thought that what do we really want to value? Do we really want to reward them? We have to think. So we made a small adjustment, we changed. For next year, we thought on the annual day, other than all the sports and who wins the sports, we will reward who has the best chanting throughout the year. So we would give Namacharya Haridas Thakur Award throughout the year who chants well. And a person who would had a good handwriting, guess what can be the award for a good handwriting? Hare Krishna. Ratnavali. Okay. Even Rupa Goswami. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu praises the handwriting of Rupa Goswami. So we kept Rupa Goswami award for the good handwriting. And those who dance enthusiastically in the kirtan, Vakreshwar Pandit award. And those who are good in study of the scriptures, good in the study of the scriptures, Jiva Goswami award, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur award. Right? Both are, we kept it Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur award. And those who are good in preaching to others, Bhaktivedanta Swami award. Right? So Prabhupada is the highest example of preaching. So these students, when we started rewarding, these students understood what we value. And they would dance enthusiastically in the kirtan. You know, their enthusiasm. They would like to come and sit for chanting. And so that, you know, probably they could be a candidate for the next year's award. So therefore, what we value, we speak by our actions. Therefore, we in our society, we tend to usually, because institute requires that, we tend to reward and value just the achievers and not those who are steady devotees. They may not be big contributors in terms of projection and all that, but just that they are doing bhakti steadily, they are one of the biggest contributors. And we need to recognize, value and reward them. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.